Hi there, I'm Claire McDonnell Liu and this is the Family Health Lab. In today's conversation, I'm talking mental health with Nick Hudson. Nick is the founder and the chair of the Push-Up Challenge, a mental health initiative in June that raises awareness and tackles stigma, getting us all talking about mental health.
You're listening to the Family Health Lab. Healthy parents, healthy kids.
Hi there, Nick. Thanks for jumping on to talk mental health with me.
Hi, Claire. My pleasure. Great to be here today.
Yeah, so I know you're a numbers guy, and I think we all are kind of getting experience of the statistics around mental ill health. And it's 1 in 5 at the moment adults, but I was pretty alarmed to hear that it's 1 in 5 children predicted to suffer from mental ill health as well. So what are your thoughts on how things are going with the statistics and numbers of people being affected?
Yeah, sure. It's pretty wild, huh? To think at 1 in 5, so that 20% of people will be impacted by mental health in I think that's in any given year, right? So that's just 20% of the population. What does that make it? 6-7 million Australians every year. What a burden on society. What a burden on communities, on partners, on parents, on kids to have someone in their lives that's going through such a tough time. Last time I read up on this, last time the numbers came out, mental health was the third highest burden disease in Australia, just behind cancer and cardiovascular disease, which are obviously big deals in themselves. But mental health continues to be a big deal in this country, and something that, quite frankly, we need to do more about.
Absolutely, and something you're doing a lot about, which we'll come on to chat about. But yeah, for me, I think I'm not such a statistics person, but you put it into perspective with those numbers, and it affects every household. That every family knows somebody and is touched by this. Nobody's escaping. So it does massively need to be a priority. I think the children's statistics are really, really concerning. I was reading 1 in 40 in a given year would attempt suicide, which is phenomenally scary. And men are more affected, which is interesting because your push-up challenge, it was men to begin with, wasn't it? And men are less likely to seek help.
Yes, absolutely. So when we started the push-up challenge, it was just myself and some male friends giving it a crack, which was, at that point, it didn't deliberately have anything to do with mental health. It certainly helped, we believe, with our mental health, and that was an interesting side effect which we weren't expecting. But yes, mental health tends to present in both men and women, and those that don't identify as male or female. Unfortunately, men are much more likely to do something serious about that, and I think it's is it 2 or 3 times as likely to take their own lives compared to women, which is obviously very unfortunate. There's all sorts of reasons behind that, but look, it is a disease which is shared by both men and women in Australia. But yeah, the statistics around men in particular are pretty harsh, are pretty saddening.
Yeah, they are. I definitely echo that. I think they are really harsh, and it's a multi-factor problem. People's experiences are different. Their symptoms manifest in different ways. But there is perhaps a big thing around connection and a traditional of not speaking out and a stigma around mental ill health that I think is really something that your organisation, your initiative is including that aspect and trying to tackle that head on. So it brings me to talking about the press up challenge, and it got started with a few mates. I was listening to a podcast of you talking where you were kind of knocking out these press ups and you were keeping in contact with each other and challenging. It's a fitness challenge. There's so many of them around, but you notice knock on benefits. I like that you were doing them in the supermarket randomly and in the pub. That's quite funny.
Yeah. We've had people do them all over shop over the last however many years. So yeah, with mental health, there's a number of things they say that can be good for your mental health, and two of them are around connection. That's connection with people and connection with nature. So spending time outdoors, in green areas. I think Japanese call it forest bathing, I believe, which is, of course, they've got, that's translated to forest bathing. So going out and surrounding yourself with a very natural green environment, which is perhaps foreign to many parts of Australia, maybe more appropriate for certain months in Japan, but there's something about connection with nature which is very sort of carnal, very real, and perhaps built into us over millennia or perhaps millions of years around this is what's normal. And maybe there's some chemical or biological things in that impact someone's mental health. And certainly the what is it, seasonal affected disorder. So over winter in particular, where people don't spend much time outside and they don't get hit by healthy amount of sun rays of sunlight, can in fact impact people's moods and impact people's mental health as well. So so connection with nature, connection with people is just so important. And that's it was one of the I've got to tell you, Claire, it was one of the unintended initial consequences of the first version of the push-up challenge that we did 6-7 years ago now, where myself and some mates just decided to challenge ourselves to a bunch of push-ups, but we didn't realize how connected it would bring us over the little challenge that we ran.
And that was 2017. It's on your website. It says we started with humble beginnings in 2017. Well, I'm hoping it's about right.
That sounds right. Yes, good research.
Yeah, so to raising $26 million for mental health charities, literally changing lives and impacting the conversation Australia is having with mental health, about mental health, and removing that stigma and making those connections. So would you tell me more about those humble beginnings and how it kind of came and grew and it became such a phenomena?
Yeah, sure. Well, so look, it just kicked off with, back in, 2017, where, myself and a few mates, it was winter. We'd let ourselves go a little bit over the winter months, and we decided, all right, let's challenge ourselves to get fit. And there's all these sort of things going around. So, let's do something a bit fun. Let's do some push-ups, if you can call that fun. And so we challenged ourselves to do, I think it was 3,000 push-ups in a month or something like that, and it worked really well. So myself, 3 guys, and what we didn't expect was the amount of banter that this little challenge, this little thing created, and the conversations it created as well around sort of nothing formal about mental health or anything scientific, but we were checking in on each other, a couple of times a day. So the case of, hey Joe, how are your push-ups going today? I see, you haven't told us about. So, we had a little group chat going, and we'd tell each other when we were doing push-ups, and if someone was quiet for a part of the day, we'd be like, hey, Well, have you done anything today? What's up with that? And then we give each other, a bit of stick. And if no one done anything, in a very, friendly, collaborative way. And yeah, it was really cool. In fact, it was so cool that, it hurt. It was hard. Like, there's a lot of 3,000 push-ups. There's a lot of push-ups, right?
Quite ambitious, isn't it?
Yeah. We set the bar high. All right, let's give it a crack. And we wanted a challenge. We didn't want it to be just a thing. We wanted it to be a bit challenging. We're all fit enough, so why not? Maybe not super fit, but fit enough. It got to the end. Like, oh, what now? This is a few days off or whatever, and we need the next thing. What's the next thing? And so we did it again. The next month we did it again. A couple others joined us. They saw us. They saw what we were doing. We're out, as you said, out in the supermarket, at a bar or whatever, and haven't done my push-ups today, but get down and smash a few out. So sort of caught on from there.
Yeah, and then you realised you were onto something with those two aspects: connection and the fitness aspect. But then your journey took a change, and you experienced your own depression, dark episode where things weren't very good with your your physical health, I believe, and then that manifested in a period of depression for you. And did you then use the press up challenge as your instrument to kind of lift yourself out of that, or how did that become enmeshed?
It was just myself and a few mates, and sort of grew organically, and had a few friends of friends involved. And then the following year, 2018, thought, all right, well, let's do something a bit more with this. It seems like people are interested in this sort of thing. Seems like a bit of fun. That whole connection thing is cool. At that point, I was fairly involved in my community, fairly involved in like mental health, on the side. And thought, all right, let's do something more. So that second year, we had 1,000 people taking part from across Australia, and it was fun. It was cool. We raised $50,000 for mental health, which is which I was stoked by. I still remember that very well, ticking over that 50 grand. It was like, okay, this is great. And so on the back of that event, myself and the mates were like, all right, the mates have sort of stepped away from it a little bit, but they were quite pleased with how it went. And we did what any bunch of guys does to celebrate, and we went to Bali for a few days, and did all those things, and was out in the surf there, and I was like, oh geez, I'm quite unfit at the moment. I was a little bit unfit anyhow, but I'm quite unfit. So I wonder what's going on there. Yeah, I'll have to exercise some more. So I got home, got back to Australia, and had a coffee, and my heart started going nuts, and went and saw a specialist who told me that I needed to have open heart surgery because my heart had some dodgy parts in it, some parts that weren't behaving as they should. So, someone pretty active in the community, likes doing fitness stuff, to hear that someone's going to go in and, slice you open, mess with your heart, it didn't go down too well. And, your heart's kind of important. And when someone says, hey, I'm going to tinker with your ticker, it's like,
Pretty frightening, yeah.
Yeah, pretty frightening.
You're not at an age you would expect it, and as you said, fit, active, involved in your community, not at all expected. It must have been a big shocker. Yeah,
it was, and it was. Let's do this. There we go. It was a shocker, and all your life there's cartoons and all that, and your soul's in here, right? Your heart and soul, and to hear that someone's going to mess with that is not very cool. So I went downhill. I got depressed. Started pushing my mates away. Started pushing away my extended family, and just wasn't enjoying life. Surgery happened. Surgery went quite well. Some pretty good surgeons in Australia. And I came out of that surgery. I thought, all right, well, what am I going to do? I had significant time off work, thanks to an employer who really understood what I was going through physically, and what would turn out to be mentally. And so they gave me some time off work to recover. And so they're in bed. I thought, all right, well, after I spent a considerable period of time on Netflix, and because you're on some medication and all that. There's not much you can do for a little bit. Not much you can do with it's valuable for a little bit. So after all that started to wear off, and Netflix started to grow thin, I was like, okay, well let's do something else. And what about this push-up thing? Let's give this a good crack. So so from that I thought, all right, well, I've got this time. I'm quite depressed at the moment, quite down, separated from different part of the country to where my mates lived, and I thought, all right, let's build this push-up challenge. So put some effort into it and started developing it properly from there.
So you were pretty isolated at that time, and then stuck really in your situation. You couldn't get out as much. So it's that manifested. I'm interested because of your role now as a mental health initiative leader. You talk about depression, you talk about mental ill health, and you talk about your own experience. You mention that, you touch on it, and you're quite open about it. I'm wondering about that openness. I'm curious, does it come naturally, or has that been a work in progress for you to kind of get it out there and get past the stigma, the awkwardness, and the uncomfortableness for yourself?
It hasn't, for me, it hasn't been easy, Claire. It has not been easy. And it wasn't till after the surgery that I realised that I'd been sort of not living my true self, not being true to myself for many years. And it took the surgery to be a bit of a wake up call and say, well, Nick, you've got a second chance now to be yourself. Forget all the other stuff that's going on. Forget the imperfections in your heart. Forget your other imperfections, or maybe embrace them rather, and get on with it. Start being your true self. That sounds a bit I don't know, cliche, but it's true. And being able to open up about this, about what I went through, was somewhat liberating for me. And whilst I may have feared doing that in the past, this whole experience, it liberated me to do it. And I guess as part of that, I just want to help others be able to do the same.
And that's what it's all about. That's you're channeling your own experiences and building this platform to help others to do what takes bravery to openly discuss mental ill health. And we mentioned at the beginning, touches so many. It's really, really important, and men, hugely important that we see role models, because when we say men, it's young men it's across the whole age range of men. So to have male role models in your position, pushing themselves to be open is pretty cool, and it's pretty game changing for our culture. And it wasn't the experience of generations before when people have suffered in silence. Thank you for that and sharing your story. Then from that situation, plugging away, building an app. I think you built it yourself, or you got help, and then things kind of have snowballed to the point where, like I mentioned earlier, 26 million, is that correct, that you've raised? Or a large amount of $26 million, a large amount for mental health charities.
Yeah, it's pretty coll, huh?
Yeah, it's very
certainly,
cool.
Certainly wouldn't have thought we'd get to that level. So so year 2 raised 50,000, and then year 3 was a massive step for us. Had a bit of time, had some a lot of energy around the event, and really wanted to fire it up. So put a lot more effort into it in that third year. We had close to 50,000 people who collectively raised about $2.5 million for mental health, which was just mind blowing for me. I was sort of cautiously optimistic and was hoping to get $1 million, but once we did really well. We got 2.5, which is absolutely mind blowing. And so over the years, just over what it was, $26 million, around 300,000 participants who have collectively banked or logged about 600 million push-ups through the event. So I like to think that with the population of Australia, that we've increased the health of the average Australian by 20 or so push-ups.
Awesome. Yeah.
Which
yeah.
isn't quite how it works, but on averages,
it's pretty cool how it's all kind of clicking together now. People can kind of join it as a team and kind of communicate with each other and challenge and see leaderboards. There's lots going on with it to kind of make it fun, almost gamify it, and connect. I liked that it can connect remote workplaces and communities and schools taking part.
Yeah, that's something that we're quite proud of. We've had a lot of families in workplaces and schools that may be decentralized, and so people use the event to help stay connected with others, whether it be family members or workplaces with different different departments or just different locations. I think last year I think we had a company with representation in just about every state, almost every state in Australia, with different teams. So we allow for what we call communities in the event, which is a collection of teams. We've got lots of schools, for instance, that form a community, and then they've got various teams within their school, be different, classes or year groups or what have you. It's certainly evolved over the years to be, more inclusive. We're trying to get smarter around how we do things to meet people's needs. 150,000 participants. You can imagine. You can imagine the number of people that contact us asking for things or. So we're technology has improved year on year. Like look at what's coming up and what we've prepared for the 2023 event, and look back at how the event was run even 2 years ago, and I think, wow, if we were to try to run it the same way, it just wouldn't work, because every year it's we're again trying to be smarter about things and more efficient and the rest of it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. And hearing the stories of participants, that's probably the coolest part. So we get people reaching out to us via social media or just the website, just say, oh, when registration's open, or I can't wait, or this is how I embraced the event last year, or this is what it's done for me in my conversations with my friends and family, and or it's just it's pretty cool to hear those stories.
Yeah, so back to that connection and connecting people, and it must mean a lot to some people who've had their own mental health journeys or somebody in their family. So yeah, for them to be able to take part must mean quite a lot. The target changes with a particular mental health statistic of how many push-ups, but not just push-ups, which is quite useful for some people who are not as good, or they find them daunting. They can do different forms of exercise, or they can do the on their knees instead of the full push-up. So yeah, you've modified it, adapted, but it's kind of focused on a lot of activity. Your team is very, very busy during the month of June when that all takes place.
Yeah, very busy. All this work across the year, and it comes down to this 1 month or 23 days of this year's event. So yeah, this year's target is 3,144 push-ups to represent 3,144 Australians who tragically took their own lives in 2021, which is the last year this data was captured. So it's a pretty heavy number, and I get people reaching out to me, a bit oblivious to the purpose of the event, say, "Oh, Nick, why is it such a high number? Can you reduce the number, please? It's too high." I'm like, "Well, love to.
We're trying.
It's a heavy number. It's a lot of push-ups. It's a lot of suicide. So it can be a big number, which is why we encourage people to take on alternatives, as you mentioned. People can do push-ups on their knees, do some sit-ups, squats instead. Whatever motivates them to whatever they're capable of. Rather, we had, it was 2 years ago, maybe it was last year. I can't remember, but we had an 80. I think it was last year. We had an 82-year-old taking part in the event who was doing wall push-ups. Also standing up.
Cool.
He had his PT helping him out with that, which was very cool.
Very, very cool. Good achievement.
Yeah,
and good inclusivity. That you're reaching out and people are feeling like they can take part. So whatever their fitness level or ability level, they can get involved. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And this year we're going to release a new feature which is around allowing people to take on half the target rather than the full target, so people can opt in for less, just to make it a bit more accessible. So it really is for everyone.
Yeah, and families as well. We're going to take part as a family this year, and I should say that Justin's been working with you, my husband, and that's how we know each other. So yeah, he's very excited by all of this, and we're kind of warming the kids up to the idea. Do you want to tell us a bit about the charity and where the money goes and how it's helping?
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, we support typically sort of 3 main charities every year. And also we have our own foundation. So when people take part, they can fundraise, or perhaps donate themselves to the cause. They don't have to. The event is free to take part in. We're quite proud of it being free. We want people to get involved and learn about mental health along the way. So the event has a very strong education component with the number of push-ups varying per day to allow people to learn about mental health. So with the push-up target varying per day, that target reflects a different mental health statistic. So it might be 120 push-ups one day because of this stat, and then 70 the next day, and 100. So, but yes, people can fundraise as part of it. You don't have to, but we certainly encourage it. When someone registers, they choose which beneficiary they're going to support. One of the beneficiaries we've pre-selected. We have our own foundation, which people can support if they like. We're very much in the preventative space. So funds raised through us help with education and awareness. And we also support other beneficiaries who sit at various different spectrums in the mental health sort of care. For instance, we're supporting Lifeline this year, who are more up sort of the acute end when someone needs to make a phone call to get support. Lifeline are there. So Lifeline want to be there for people in their greatest hour of need. And I think it's $39 is the cost to fund a Lifeline phone call. So people could choose to support Lifeline through the event and hopefully fund some of their very value-adding phone calls. We also have Movember, who are at sort of that other end of the spectrum around prevention and education. So Movember focus on a few different things, including, they focus on men's health, but a big part of that is mental health. And as we know, mental health within men, just there's so much room for improvement there, so much low-hanging fruit. So we're quite proud of supporting Movember as well.
And are you doing some outreach work into schools and getting some resources ready? Or is that coming in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're building a student ambassador program, which was a massive hit a couple of years ago. We trialed it for the first time. We expanded it in 2022, again with just amazing feedback, and we're looking to expand it again in 2023 for the upcoming event. We're pretty lucky. Yeah, we've got some absolute superstars in the team who, I don't know how it happened. They found us or we found them. One of them was two of them are friends of friends that sort of, I don't know, it so happened that, we ended up working together on this, and they are just amazing at facilitating our student ambassador program and nurturing our students, particularly in years 10, 11, and 12, through the event. So that's a program that helps students with their leadership skills, and we teach them about mental health and a few other coping things, which is again been received very well by schools across Australia, and very excited to see what we can achieve there in 2023.
I'm really excited by that. As you say, preventative and at the point it's needed. Youth mental health statistics are high and they're worrying, but getting in there and getting the schools on board and giving them the tools, they want to do something about it. So I'm really excited. I didn't realise that was across Australia. So I'll keep an eye on how that progresses and kind of just keep reading up. Just out of interest, I think that's going to be really, really helpful to young people. And it's years 10, 11 and 12 mainly. It's not available for younger years at the moment.
Well, yeah, so the student ambassadors, it's just years 10, 11, 12, but they can engage their whole school through the event. So I think there might be some exceptions in year 9 we've allowed through, but I'm not sure. But it's mainly for, but yes, we've got schools on board as well who don't have a student ambassador, which is fine. We've had many schools in that boat in the past. So even if the school wants to give it a crack, even if just as teachers or staff, we've had some schools with over 500 students getting involved in the event. We've had some schools with just 4 or 5 teachers giving it a shot, and then there's others where the parents get involved too. There's one school in Victoria, in Melbourne. They're getting right behind it. There's this one year 12 student who's just super keen on it, been involved last year, maybe the year before. What he's doing to motivate his local community around the event is really cool. And it's free for schools, it's free for workplaces, it's free for all participants. So I think that's one of the alluring things about it. It's a mental health program it's fun, it's active, it's educational, and it's free. It's
evidence-based.
It's a no-brainer.
It's got authority behind it. It's supporting those big national charities and supporting education. I mean, there's just so many different positives, so many wins. So how can people get involved? Go to the website, sign up,
website.
Get their school involved through the website.
Yeah, if they're interested, just go to pushupchallenge.com.au or just Google the Push Up Challenge and check it out. Just check out the school section if they want, or hit us up if they've got any questions. We've got a bunch of testimonials, references and all that. There's if their school has not been involved, probably not too far away from a school that has. If they're interested, they should just reach out.
Yeah, nice. And in terms of your own kind of philosophy with managing your own mental health, and what advice would you give to, say, your friends, or is it it's one kind of game changer habit that you'd wish that other people would kind of take on or would suggest? That's quite a tough one, actually.
Yeah, I do get asked this a bit, so I'm umming and ahhing because it's like, oh, yeah. So unfortunately, Claire, as you probably know, there's no silver bullet for mental illness, right? And each person's different, and you hear that. But having said that, there are some fundamentals and certainly some things that have helped me. Not to say that it'll help everyone, but things that help me. And a couple of those things, as we talked about before, are connection with nature and connection with people. So spending time outdoors, breathing all that in, going for a walk on the beach, going for a jog around the block or whatever it is, going for a ride. Very, very. I find that very great for my mental health. What's the saying there? Is it's go for I'm going to misquote it, but it's something like go for a half-hour walk per day, unless you're really busy, in which case go for an hour walk per day. Is that
I've not,
have you heard that one before?
I don't know if you've murdered that one or not, but I like it.
I think I've absolutely,
but I like
ruined it.
I like the principle behind it, and I did hear today somebody talking about their own mental health journey, and they were saying that you never hear of anyone having burnout or suffering anxiety or depression after a build-up of too much dog walking or time on the beach. So you
guess it depends on the dog that you're walking or how many dogs there are.
Oh, right,
that could be quite
that's true.
Yeah. Well, so for me, exercise is important to me. Reflecting on that, probably not doing enough of that at the moment. And if people aren't exercising, or I just want to get into it, well, just set yourself really small goals to start off with. Just put on your shoes, that sort of thing. Anyhow, so exercise and connecting with nature can sort of be done as one, and then connecting with people. So having those real connections at in your life, whether it be in the workplace, which for some people might be challenging to have deep connections, and that's quite okay. You don't have to be friends with everyone. There's this thing going around at the moment around, your work mates, your work buddies are your best mates. It's like, well, maybe not. It's good to have, perhaps at least one person at work who you can confide in and the rest of it. But to think that all these people who you've been forced to hang out with are suddenly your besties, I don't know, might be unfair. But anyhow, having those connections in at least one aspect of your life, strong connection through a family member or a friend or maybe work colleagues, pretty important. Just at least spending time there, so being social. And I've got a couple of good mates who swear they're introverts and don't like hanging out with people, but which is true. I think they lean that way in that in that spectrum. But even them over COVID, they were suffering and they still needed that connection. So look, connection with people, connection with nature, exercising, good food. All right, and it's so, I think it's hard for a lot of people to connect this. That okay, I'm feeling a bit down or whatever. I'm gonna make my way halfway through a tub of ice cream, and that's going to make me a whole lot better. And you know what? It may do that for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and it would be a couple of minutes. That dopamine hit and that reward center of the brain.
It's great. It's great.
Do that again and again and again. And again. But nutrition, around this topic, I think is not necessarily hitting the mainstream, but there's some really good information and studies coming out and showing that the higher processed your diet, more convenience food, more packet food, which is most families are on a lot of that stuff naturally now, not even the kind of tub of ice cream type stuff, cereals full of sugar, that is linked to a high percentage increase in depression. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you see that those people who are changing to a processed-free diet, getting fatty acids into their diet, those type of things, it's really helping to kind of change the brain and give the brain a different type of energy and improve symptoms of mental health. So there's some quite exciting stuff. But I just on what you were saying about what people should do, like you say, there just is no magic wand here. And I know you don't want to kind of come across like the guru on this, because everyone's journey is completely different. But there's such good, sensible kind of back to basics fundamentals, fresh air, nature, kind of just taking one step at a time, putting shoes on, if and depending on where you are with your journey. But just I was just going to ask you finally, what's the picture looking like next? You've got the event, you're busy planning. I know that's going to be big, and then on from there, have you got a vision of where this is going?
Well, yeah, we'd love to keep growing it, to have more impact on society in Australia, in the various communities around Australia. And the stories we get in are just so cool, and it'd be great to have even more of those stories and have it positively impact more lives. So we're trying to get a bit more sophisticated and smarter around how we deliver all that, which is very internal here at Push Up HQ. But in terms of the participant, we're hoping we can help educate them further, help them have great conversations and meaningful conversations with those around them, help them build up their own protective factors against mental health. And who knows, maybe we'll see the Push Up Challenge in other parts of the world in some point in the future. So it's pretty exciting times for us. Well, look, the last 7 years have been very exciting. It's just, I can't remember I don't remember being bored over this journey. So, but it continues to be, all these new things come up and all these new exciting challenges we have to deal with. So it's cool.
Well, I certainly wish you a lot of luck with it, and I hope very much that it keeps impacting on people. I mean, it's already reaching a percentage of the population, then it's being cascaded through organisations and schools now, and it sounds exciting, all these different aspects of it, even the IT aspects and the different ways people get involved, and like you say, how it's touching people. So thank you, and I'm wishing you a lot of luck with growing it.
Oh, thanks very much, Claire. Very kind of you saying, we're also excited.
Thanks, Nick.
Cheers.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe. This really helps us to be able to create more content.